Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani vows to end homeless sweeps. What's that going to do for the city of New York? Oh, we have got a train wreck that is going to unfold in front of us, and we have got front row seats. It is going to be a major, major disaster. Why? Well, I think you know why, but let's get into it. Here we go.
Homeless encampments are going to be allowed under the Mamdani administration. The mayor-elect says he's going to halt a policy put in place by Mayor Eric Adams to break up those encampments. Adams instituted the policy not long after taking office when homeless people were being linked to crime. As a result, police were instructed to cite people for quality of life violations and break up the encampments.
Connecting those New Yorkers to housing, whether it's supportive housing, whether it's rental housing, whatever kind of housing it is. If you are not connecting homeless New Yorkers to the housing that they so desperately need, then you cannot deem anything you're doing to be a success.
Mamdani.
Treatment is housing, mental institution is housing, and yes, even prison is housing. So which one are you going to connect those to there, Zohran? He's not. Just let him be. Let him be, and he says in only very, very, very few instances will people be encouraged to go against their own will to prison, mental institution, rehab. Yeah, this is just going to be an absolute train wreck. But it's not a shocker.
People will not be involuntarily committed except in the rarest of circumstances.
There you go.
Turn now.
Oh, this is just going to be great. I mean, this is going to be something else to unwatch, because what you've got going on in the United States is you've got like Zohran Mamdani, you got Katie Wilson here in Seattle who's going to follow suit, because this is what socialists believe in. No homeless sweeps. Everybody has a right to housing. Yeah, the criminals living in tents, dealing drugs, human trafficking, buying, selling stolen goods, killing people with drugs. Yeah, those people. Yeah. Well, everybody looks at, the same situation. The poor homeless people. Nah, there are a bunch of criminals running around doing criminal stuff, creating criminal environments. So you've got New York City, you've got Seattle, you've got Portland going down these leftist roads, right? And you've got Utah, and we're going to talk about that in a second. You've got Utah saying, you know what? This whole housing first thing, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a 1,200, a 1,400, a 1,600 bed encampment, and it's going to be basically a community where people are involuntarily put, a lot of them court-ordered, because so many of the folks that are running around our homeless encampments, doesn't matter where it is, are either criminals or they're wildly addicted to drugs, mentally insane, or a combination of all three. So sometimes you're going to have to involuntarily place people. So Utah is going down this road of, we're not just going to just allow people to live wherever. We're not going to allow these homeless encampments to just proliferate on our streets. So there's the pushback, right? There's the pushback. Whether or not that actually works, it does not matter. It doesn't matter, because the polar opposite of what you're seeing happen in big progressive socialist strangleholds like Seattle and New York is going to unfold in front of you. Homelessness is going to explode, because that's what it did during the pandemic, right? No more sweeps, because homeless sweep might spread the Rona. People might take the Rona to other homeless encampments. And that didn't happen because it was outside, right? No Rona outside for whatever reason. Weird, right? Because got all stay inside. But that's where the Rona is. Never mind. It's all based on the data and the science. So you've got one of two options that are happening right now. And you're either going in this crazy leftist direction, or you're going down what is viewed as this hardcore ultra-right, getting away from housing first, which is the ideology. It's a progressive ideology that simply doesn't work. But the leftists, the progressives, want to tell you this is based on science and data. This works. If you have nothing else going on, except you got a homeless person on the street and you're putting them into housing. And if you had nothing else within your tool set to help the homeless, then yes, getting them off the streets into housing makes sense. But that's the problem, is that they're not getting the care that they need. It's not it's not based upon them getting better. It's just, here you go, here's some housing. Hope you get better. Hope you get off the drugs. Hope you fix that mental issue you've got, whatever that may be. That's why Housing First doesn't work, because it's not conditional upon these people actually getting better, making things better. Whereas Utah is going down roads where that is the case. Donald Trump, whether you want to believe him or not, he is going against Housing First. And he is making funding conditioned, because we all know Housing First does not work as a metric, as a program. It just doesn't. And the reason you can tell that is, how much has homelessness increased in California in the last decade, where we've been practicing Homeless First exclusively? How much has homelessness increased in King County? King County is like 40% over the last 3 years. 40%. And you're telling me Housing First works? It doesn't work. But so you're going to come down to places that are just still doing Housing First, like Mamdani was talking about. Just need to get them into the housing. We're not doing any sweeps. So then you're going to allow the homeless to just live wherever, because you're not going to sweep. What's going to happen with those encampments? Pretty soon, you're going to have couches. You're going to have basketball hoops. You're going to have swimming pools. You're going to have pickleball courts, right? Because that's what they do. They proliferate. Hey, nobody's sweeping us. What's going to happen? What's going to happen in Utah when the homeless, who are given the option of, well, you can either go to jail, or you can go to treatment at this treatment facility that's a little bit outside of town, and you're going to be heavily regulated, or you can go get some mental help at our treatment center, where you're going to be involuntarily asked to go, recommended to go. Maybe a judge asks you to go. If you're a homeless person and you get sent to one of these, to this Utah camp, you're probably going to think twice about being homeless in Utah, right? You're going to say, where can I be more successfully homeless? LA. Even San Francisco is going to be more lenient, and they are really trying to clean things up. And San Francisco is making getting help conditioned upon getting treatment. So LA, San Francisco to a certain extent, Portland for sure, Seattle for sure. And Seattle will be one of those litmus tests. Let's just see how this socialist policy of allowing people to live wherever goes. And it guaranteed. We have seen what happens with that before, and it does not work. It is horrific for the communities that experience it. Now, what I can say positively about Mayor Bruce Harrell, who's on the outs here in Seattle, is he relentlessly swept encampments, and it has cleaned up Seattle. You've still got areas that are just absolutely third world country-like, right? Worse than third world countries, because you don't have people doing the Fetty fold in those third world countries, right? They're just dying to death of starvation. Which one's better? A slow death in a first world country? Ugh, neither one's a good option. But what it'll come down to is, all right, Utah pushes out all of their homeless. They go somewhere else. So whether or not these programs work, one is going to be a deterrent, and the other is going to be an accelerant, which attracts the homeless industrial complex. So here you go. Seattle Space Needle Homeless Camp grows as Mayor-elect Katie Wilson promises to end sweeps. What we've got here, this is an interesting one. You've got a private parcel right in here, meaning the city can't really sweep it, county can't really sweep it, and WashDOT, Department of Transportation, can't really sweep it. You've got a situation where it's on private land. See, so literally the Jimi Hendrix Project, the old whatever it is, Paul Allen put together because he was crazy about Jimi Hendrix. He did that. Jimi Hendrix Foundation said, nope, you can't use Jimi Hendrix in the name. But now you've got that right in front of the Space Needle with this big homeless encampment out in front. So build it and they will come. That is exactly what is happening. And by not pushing back and doing the sweeps, you are literally encouraging homelessness within your community. You are saying, oh yeah, we'll tolerate it. No problem. We will not sweep, because the left views sweeping as a form of oppression versus cleaning up the city and allowing tax-paying citizens to use their own land that they are paying for with taxes, such as parks, sidewalks, streets, any of that stuff, right? Any of that stuff. So here's that huge, let's see if I can get to. So here's that Utah angle. Utah's 1,300 bed homelessness accountability center tests Trump area crackdown. They are literally moving forward with this 16-acre parcel near the airport, 1,300 bed services campus. They say will treat addiction and mental illness and provide what they call a humane alternative to the streets. But critics warn that the facility could amount to a detention camp, enforces President Donald Trump's homelessness directive through confinement and forced labor. You know what? If you're getting free housing, maybe you should put a little something into the pot. These days of getting everything but the drugs for free should be over. They literally should be over. This is absolute insanity to be running whatever jurisdiction you're running otherwise. This whole housing first thing has not worked. Homelessness has gone through the roof, and it has not been because rents got too expensive. It's because too many people thought, why should I really work all that hard when I can just become homeless and they'll take care of me. They'll give me a tent. They'll give me clothing. They'll give me food. They'll give me an allowance. They'll give me a SNAP benefits card. They'll give me. So New York City, Seattle, gimme. And they're going to give, right? They're going to give with your taxpayers' dollars, folks. So enjoy that. Whereas Utah, pushing back. They're pushing back from the standpoint of we're not doing that. Same thing down in Oklahoma City. You've got a governor who basically says, hey, we are going to relentlessly enforce the law. Shocker, right? And when I've visited the homeless areas in Oklahoma City, they are few and far between. I've got footage that I need to get together. Now I've edited of my trip the last time down to Oklahoma City. You've only got a couple of areas, and there's literally a handful of homeless folks, and that's how it is because Oklahoma and Texas they sweep hard, and that's the difference. That's the pushback. Whether or not either of those things work, sweeping or no sweeping. Whether or not the actual mechanics of that are such where long term, what they do is they create a situation where, one, it sends the message that homelessness wherever is just completely acceptable, or number two, don't go to Utah because they're doing that. What do they call it? Accountability center. You don't want to get sent to the accountability center because then you might have to actually be held accountable. And that's what Democrats hate. Oh, they hate that. Accountability, actual transparency. No, we can't have that. Progressives, Democrats, Socialists of America, they hate that because then their policy is proven, like housing first, to not work. Doesn't work. Homelessness in California has risen in the order of 50 to 70% over roughly the past decade. And in the past decade, since 2005, you've been using housing first as your model, as your primary model for homelessness. And let's see, let me read that again. California has 30% of the United States homelessness, 50% of all unhoused folks, meaning they're not in shelters, they're not in permanent housing, they're not in any of that. They're just living on the streets. California has 50% of America's unhoused population. 50%. So, and they've been using housing first. Housing first, and homelessness has risen on the order of 50 to 70% over roughly the past decade. You've built the homeless industrial complex in these big blue liberal cities, and now you've got an entire system built around it. And so numbnuts like, let's get to one here. Here we go. Utah's dangerous new approach to homelessness. I'm so scared. This is written by a dude who is co-executive director for Vocal New York, part of Vocal US, an organization dedicated to ending homelessness and the overdose crisis. He's worked on homeless issues for 18 years, as they've just gotten worse, right? Just gotten worse. So these experts, they don't want to end homelessness. They want to keep it going because it's a gravy train. Utah? Hey, you can't live wherever you want to. You need to go into our accountability center. And maybe a judge puts you into the accountability center. Wild difference between socialist and Republican, right? No one wants people sleeping on our streets. For years, experts, yeah, whatever. That's the one approach proven to work. They're talking about housing first, the one approach that's proven to work. Work doing what? Homelessness has exploded. Under housing first. Homelessness has exploded. What are you talking about? Until recently, the state of Utah was a leader in it. Yeah, and then they weren't for a reason. What was that? Well, because the pushback means homeless aren't going to come to Utah. But now, Utah's announced a new program with the Trump administration's backing. You're going to do what we talked about. That would be a disaster. It would be a disaster only because those homeless folks are going to get pushed elsewhere, and they're going to end up in cities, communities, and counties that encourage it. So, you say that you want to end homelessness, you really don't, because then the gravy train is over and you don't have your income anymore. Utah's opening large accountability center. The solution was put forward, and they said solution, by political appointees and business leaders, not actual homelessness experts. Well, the homelessness experts have led us down the wrong path, where homelessness has exploded in numbers. So maybe we should listen to business leaders because they're the ones squawking. They're the ones having their businesses turned upside down by the whacked out Looney Tunes on drugs doing crazy stuff in homeless encampments out in front of the business leaders' businesses. We see that daily here in Seattle. Local advocates warn this massive center won't have the funds to provide treatment to the 1,300 people. It doesn't matter. It sends a signal that, hey, we're not tolerating this. Whereas you Looney Tunes in New York City and Seattle, you're like, greatest thing ever. It's just terrible. Terrible. Portland as well. Instead, they worry it will only divert resources away from programs that actually work. What are your programs that work, numbnuts? Because I'm not seeing them. It's not happening. Homelessness is getting worse. So where are your programs that actually work? Yeah, where's that? Where's that? Asking for a friend. Experts have also raised concerns that the government advising promoting this plan has a financial interest in this. Who cares? Not long ago, Salt Lake City was considered model for homelessness. There are certainly permissive policies being pushed by politicians. Landlords are permitted. Yeah, this is just a bunch of nonsense. Like most homelessness, just doesn't jive. Who won't be locked up? Wealthier people who struggle with addiction and mental health issues. All right, okay. That's one of the huge issues is you've got a whole bunch of poor folks, people on the lower socioeconomic end, who now you're just going to allow to live on your streets and the sidewalks. Is that humane? Is that what you want? Because that's what New York City's going to get. That's what Seattle's going to get. Oh, no more sweeps. Greatest concept ever. And you're like, it is misguided compassion is what it is. It's misguided compassion. It's like crazy, because we know what the end result of that, homelessness will expand, because why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? It's like water. It goes to the path of least resistance, right? It just does. We know that to be true. And where homelessness goes, whomever's got it available, that's where you're going to go. Whoever's pushing back, you're going to go away from that. So I don't see it any other way. And so even if you have a program that kind of works, but it's pushing back on homelessness. That is better than this whole notion of housing first. And hey, we're going to take the whacked out homeless dude who's stealing from the community, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We're going to take that individual and just put them into housing, and their life will stabilize and instantly things will get better. You know what they do? They still have a tent in the homeless encampment because that's where they go do their drugs. So they sometimes sleep in their permanent supportive housing. Oftentimes you'll find them in the tent. You see that all the time. This is not, it's not rocket science, folks, but the homeless industrial complex wants you to believe that all we need is just some more housing, which we all know ain't the problem. The problem is you need to get them into treatment. You need to get them into a mental institution. And sometimes you need to put them in jail because that's where they belong, because they're committing crimes. So you got to pick one of those three. Utah's approach? It'll work. It will work. Whether the actual fundamentals do or don't. New York, Seattle, absolute train wreck. Get out that popcorn. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell because we're going to be covering this 10 ways from Sunday. Thanks for being here. Catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.